Yeah. So for me personally, I love this idea of knowing just as much about what something can't do as what it can do. And to me, I really enjoyed you have a whole lesson around limitations of AI and GPT tech where it stands today. And having gone through the course and the training, I know that you're constantly going to be updating what limitations exist. So for me, the biggest thing was I hate beating my head against the wall, trying to get a tool to do something that it's just not supposed to do or capable of doing right now. So I really love you were calling out, all these different concepts around limitations, like what GPT type technology does today. And it's, misnaming fields or it's picking up information from previous in the chat and using that in a way that it really shouldn't be using it, is making assumptions about the use of our questions and what we're asking. So to me, I've saved a lot of time already in my day to day, just remembering, oh, yeah, I either need to reframe this in a way that it understands what I'm saying, or I need to just accept that it's not really ready to do that right now. So to me, the biggest takeaway and time saver was I was using, ChatGPT a couple of weeks ago, and now using it today, I can get the same value out of it just much faster because I know what it can't do. Oh, it's huge. I mean, we have to, especially as Salesforce professionals, we have to be adopting this type of technology, in your training, learning about, whether you call it AI or GPT or neural net technology, we have to adopt it because it's already here. And there's no question anymore. Like I think in the Salesforce space, a lot of people are always asking, should I learn CPQ or should I learn Marketing Cloud or maybe I should learn Pardot? And we're always wondering, is it just going to be a fad and then it's gone and now I've got to retrain on something else? But you can tell that this type of technology is going to be used across all of those specialties and niches. It's going to be used likely across the majority of apps we use from the App Exchange, and even inside of Salesforce, them announcing, I think they called it Einstein GPT. It is very clear this technology is going to be adopted across the Salesforce ecosystem and really into our personal lives too, even just as consumers with smartphones and using any products or services. So early adoption is key if you want to stay in the know. If you get on board and you get in front of this, you are going to be in front of a massive wave. And I mean, that's why it was so important. As soon as I saw you on LinkedIn saying, hey, this is what we're doing, and I've known you for a little while, so I knew your background was in artificial intelligence. So to me, it was, this is exactly what we need. We need to be trained on AI by an AI expert. And I knew the power this was going to bring to the Talent Stacker members. So immediately it was a no-brainer. Like, we have to get this training in for Talent Stacker because this is going to shape the future of the Salesforce ecosystem. Yeah, so there's a lot of reasons. And I would, for the individual, like the Salesforce professional who just wants to get this training on their own, I would recommend it because it's going to differentiate you massively from other people. So if you want to position yourself to never worry about your job security, this is it. I mean, you're going to be looking at consultancies and Salesforce customers starting in 2023 and going on for the foreseeable future, right? Decades, using this type of technology to make their businesses more efficient, more productive, cheaper to run, but still get the same output. So having these skills under your belt, I mean, imagine you've got the exact same 1 or 2 years of experience or no experience, but you've got a certain amount of training on GPT technology or a certification around GPT technology. This is a massive differentiator. And I can pretty well guarantee that by the end of 2023, we're going to see jobs having interview questions specifically asking you how you would use GPT technology in order to do your job better or in order to solution for something better. So when it comes to individuals looking to level up their credibility and their marketability, that's why I would be using this. Now, if I'm a business owner, which I am, the reason that I'm adopting this type of training, I mean, if I owned a consultancy right now, I would be getting my entire team trained. Anybody who's in a delivery setting, whether that's like a solution architect, even a project manager, or a scrum master, or an administrative role, or a developer role. Like everyone can get value from this training. And so if I can take a team, especially when we're in 2023, and I feel like the whole theme of 2023 for consultancies especially has been, how can I do more with less? And I'm seeing that theme from Salesforce as the mothership too. And this is the answer. To me, this is the clear, just sort of like godsend answer of, hey, we're in a tough year right now. We're all needing to sort of tighten down a little bit. What better year to adopt technology like this, where you can spend, a little bit of money on training up front, and then simply get more utilization and more billable hours and more utility out of your current staff. And that puts you in so much of a better position to not only grow while budgets are tight, but as soon as budgets are wide open, you can invest more in resources, grow them faster, educate them faster, get them billable faster. Like, I think honestly, this is a really exciting time for consultancies who are utilizing that billable hour model, because this is going to put a massive, just sort of multiplier effect on each individual's ability to get work done. For me personally, given that I'm not usually inside the Salesforce org actually delivering the Salesforce work, but I am on the side of helping empower the next generation of Salesforce professionals. And so for me to get this training, obviously we wanted it for Talent Stacker members, but I feel like I should be informed and I should be in the know about what we're teaching to our members. So for me, this is the ability to sit on LinkedIn or members only groups or in live calls that may be totally unrelated to this type of technology, but to be able to talk to people at meetups and conferences and to educate them about the value. So to me, it's about, being in a leadership role. I think it's really important that leaders take the time to actually understand what they're teaching to the people who are looking to them for answers. And that was a big part of me getting into this, was making sure that if GPT is going to be the next wave of technology, I can't be outdated if I'm going to be leading the next wave of Salesforce talent. So, we've done the training up to this point, and I know you've got a lot of major releases coming this year. And I'm just as excited about those as I am about what we've already, sort of looked at and accomplished through your training. So, yeah, I'm just thrilled to continue learning this and continue teaching it to, the Talent Stacker members and the Salesforce community at large. If you're looking to specialize, it adds value. That's the bottom line. If you have a CPQ certification and you're looking to be known as a CPQ talent, then those two things go together and they do add value. Now, people are going to still need to understand your experience to understand the true value of it. And I think that's what the GPT Specialist Certification brings. It shows that, number one, I've got a certification. So that means I'm willing to put in some amount of effort into training and dedication and my own focus to learn these skills enough to acquire certification. Now, is that going to be enough to get me noticed? Absolutely. That's going to get me noticed on LinkedIn, on resumes, on my portfolio. Now, is that going to be enough to get me a job? Probably not. I'm likely going to get asked questions in the interviews about, how do I use this type of technology on a daily or weekly or monthly basis to complete my projects, to be a better professional? And those are the types of questions that we're still going to have to be able to answer, and we should have to be able to answer. But I think, again, going back to your training, I mean, yes, if we go through the training and we actually pay attention and we actually learn the content, we will pass the GPT Specialist exam. But then it's up to us, and this is how you end the training as it is today. It's all about adopting this into a habit-forming part of our day-to-day lives so that we don't just get a certification and walk away. And that's what I see a lot of times with people who get certifications in the Salesforce space. They get some random certification and then they never use the content. But you harped so hard on get the certification and then go use it every single day, if at all possible. And you even have methods for building it into our day-to-day structure, which is huge. So I think if people are actually heeding your advice, plus the fact that we have 12 months of access. So we're going to have major updates to exactly how the training is working. Updates as soon as Einstein GPT comes out, updates as soon as, GPT-4 just came out, but who knows, GPT-5 may be around the corner. And we're going to get updates based on that, plus the AI Force engine to use specifically for Salesforce solutions. To me, it's an absolute no-brainer. If you combine that GPT Specialist certification with daily or weekly adoption of the use of GPT tools, then it says a lot about your abilities as a Salesforce professional using this type of technology. Yeah, I think there's always a hesitation when I'm going to spend my time and my money on anything. So, a lot of people say time is money. In this case, or in the case of doing trainings in general, you're very likely going to spend some amount of money and you're going to spend some amount of time. So you're doubling down on your investment at that point. And so when we came into this, as the leader of Talent Stacker, or a leader of Talent Stacker, I knew that if I was going to invest my time in something, it needed to be worthwhile. And this was pretty obviously worthwhile. My hesitation to sort of answer your question would just be, what about other certifications? Like there's some other free GPT stuff out there. In all honesty, ChatGPT is it seems intuitive, right? Like I can open it up and I can log in and I can ask it a question and I can get a really incredible answer quickly. But what I was finding day to day was that when I attempted to build training material using ChatGPT, I wasn't able to actually get to a final answer all that often, or it was difficult, or I had to go do research about how to ask the right types of prompts, or ask GPT, how do I ask the right types of prompts? But it just felt like I was, again, beating sort of my head up against the wall on some of these things. And that's when I knew, when I talked to a few people and they were like, I use ChatGPT every day. And then I talked to another set of people and they were like, I can't seem to use it well. I knew that, okay, to me, this is like hearing about a company that uses Salesforce and they hate it. And then another company that uses Salesforce and they swear by it. And typically the difference between those two companies is the fact that one of those companies has a trained professional who is capable of guiding that company into using Salesforce well. So then it became very clear to me that if you can choose the right instructor, if you can choose the right trainer, we all have GPT, right? We all have access to go log into ChatGPT. But the difference between having access to it and using it exceptionally well is the level and quality of training that you have to use it exceptionally well. So, going into your training, I was like, I can use it a little bit, but I don't think it's there yet. Coming out of your training, I'm at a point where I can use it day to day, and I can say with a straight face to pretty much anyone that you can absolutely use this to make yourself more productive, more effective as a professional, from everything from the little simple things like writing an email or following up after a meeting to writing Apex code. Like that's huge that it has that, massive amount of usability. So was I a little apprehensive about spending time and money on this process of training and understanding? Yeah, for sure. But on the other side, I mean, it's well worth every penny. Yeah, that's interesting. So I actually did use, and I won't use any names, but I used sort of some mainstream Salesforce trainers have some Chat GPT training, right? And when you look at it, it's $20 to $30, something like that, I believe. Might have been like closer to 50 for some of it, but I like to be well schooled in especially something as game changing as GPT technology is going to be on the Salesforce ecosystem. And the reality is, I would say that those, not to knock those, but $20 to $30 is the right price, right, for what you're getting. And I was thinking, why was Mark's training so much more impactful? Like, what made Mark a better trainer on this topic, right? Like, I wouldn't go to you to get a Salesforce Administrator certification or to get a practice exam for a Salesforce Administrator certification, because Salesforce is not necessarily your expertise based on your background. But when I look at your background and your expertise is artificial intelligence, and anytime I'm looking for a professor, a coach, a teacher, a mentor, I'm looking for someone who has a proven track record on the thing that I'm trying to accomplish. And I would never go to someone for advice on something that they haven't achieved yet. So when I look at the other trainers at this point who are releasing training on the topic, I look and I very quickly realize they don't have a proven track record on the ability to use this type of technology for themselves. So why would I lean on them to teach me how to use this technology for themselves? Most of them learned about AI and GPT like 3 months ago. But I look at your track record and you learned about it like 5 years ago. So that is the difference. It's a proven track record versus hopping on a trend. And you're not getting on a trend, you're utilizing your background to educate people on a topic that you're passionate about versus trying to make $19 off of a product that you hope everyone will buy during this trend. So again, not to knock them, even though that may have sounded a little sideways. At the end of the day, it's the difference between a qualified trainer on the topic that I'm studying versus a trainer that simply wants to get a quick product out. So that's why I think there's tremendous value to what you're bringing.